Now, this video has got to do with stupidity. And in my opinion, if you have the right to vote and you can vote and you decide not to vote, you are not only stupid, but you're disrespecting all the people who fought and died in order to get us the right to vote. I don't care whether you love Hillary Clinton, hate Hillary Clinton, love Bernie Sanders, hate Bernie Sanders, love Donald Trump, hate Donald Trump, love Ted Cruz, hate Ted Cruz. You need to get your asses out there and vote. Now, obviously, I'm an independent, okay? I'm a progressive, but I'm an independent. But in my opinion, any Democrat or independent, okay, with Democratic or progressive leanings that doesn't get out there to vote for either Clinton or Sanders or whoever the Democrats happen to put up is putting nails in our coffin. Only because the next president is going to appoint at least 3 Supreme Court justices. And you can talk all you want about executive orders, you can talk all you want about legislation, but when laws are challenged and they come up to that Supreme Court, it makes all the difference in the world whether you have a conservative court or a progressive court, which we have seen obviously with Citizens United, unlimited campaign finance from dark, not even dark money, just hidden money, okay, and voting rights being struck down, along with all of these crazy ass restrictions for women who want to have abortions. A progressive court would have taken care of a lot of this, whereas you see a conservative court has basically set people's rights back 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And I don't care what the Republicans say as far as they want smaller government and they want people to be able to chart their own courses. That's bullshit, you know, because if the laws don't favor you being able to do those things, which, you know, the progressives in the court normally do, then your ass is up a sling. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me play this clip regarding this fool talking about not voting.
In a new video shot outside a polling station, candidate raps about the election and how voting for any of the major candidates will not change issues like poverty or corruption, making it clear that he does not support either political party. Check out what he had to say.
Doing anything political?
Yeah, I mean, life is political.
Well, if it's political, you have to be outside the 100-foot range there.
We're doing everything that we can do as we always do. All right, have fun. Everybody I know say they too broke to vote. And with all this heavy slave mentality, we could have broke the boat. Nobody cares about me, nobody cares about my family, nobody cares about my folks, and nobody gets my vote. Nobody for president. That's my campaign slogan. We got money for wars, we can't feed our homeless. The government is hopeless. It's like a reality show. Real lives at a house liar starring Anglo-Saxon Christians. Change the channel, sound like a bunch of arguments. Switch up the game show, America's Next Top Corrupt Judicial System. For instance, I'm saying, look at my options. Voting for office is like picking out which gun you want to get shot with. These politicians think they battle rappers and they swear they spitting that hot. Gun control, abortion, civil liberties, extortion, energy, the economy, immigration, global warming. But I ain't feeling them burn. And hell no, I'll never get Trump. The Clintons had their chance with me. They the reason my cousin's still locked up. Mass incarceration still up. 3 strikes get you 25 to life. Good luck. Kill future, kill dead. Kill rights, kill mentality. In actuality, the Constitution said I was just 3/5 of a man, so what's stopping them from saying that again? The top 3% over the 13th Amendment, minus the 40 acres plus the rest of my reparations? Yeah, they doing that in the government bad. Watergate, the whitewater, call that the government bad. The law was we couldn't even use the same bathrooms. Back then, what was your government at? Behind our back, ingesting, cracking it up. Yup, the government lab. But in our face, they want to cry and sob and wonder why we shoot and rob. Guess what? Nothing stops a bullet like a job. And we can't elect without no college. And don't even get me started about the electoral college. garbage. I mean, let's be honest. That's how they really choose the president, and that's facts. They got y'all confused with these views from these Republicans and Democrats. Liberals and conservatives, man, I ain't none of that. I'm hungry. Where the money at? Because I'm too broke to vote. I'm too broke to cope. I ain't trying to check no ballots. I'm trying to check this balance on these checking accounts. And y'all being careful double checking accounts. But just like in Florida, it's going to be another miscount. As soon as they get to this amount, they're going to try to dismount. Yeah, flipping sides back and forth. It's political gymnastics. Just like Olympic acrobats go for the gold, because that's who makes the rules. All this pageantry is just designed for fools. They're going to give you who they choose. Too big to fail, too rich to lose, and I'm still too broke to vote. So how do we fix it then? Give her away. In the end is where it begins. So I vote we return this country back to its original owners, the Native Americans.
Joining us via Skype right now from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is artist and activist Jaziri X, and of course you'll have our panel here. Jaziri, is Nick Cannon saying don't vote, or is he simply trying to raise folks' consciousness when it comes to issues?
Well, I think I would say the latter, man. I really think that Nick Cannon is looking at the national conversation around the presidential election and not inspired, and really looking at the history of the Democratic Party, Republican Party, and I think we've had now more conversation around issues that directly affect the Black community, but is putting somebody in a national office really going to have that much a difference on their personal life? So I think he's dealing with it. I think, to me, when you really begin to talk about the necessity for voting, is really dealing with how we live on a local level, and I feel like he hasn't gotten into that. So I can feel like looking at the candidates that we have nationally and not necessarily be inspired, and not thinking that these individuals are going to necessarily change my life, but are we voting for a savior, or are we voting for somebody that is going to deal with policy issues? And so,
but I understand that particular point. And first of all, on this show, I'm always talking about local issues as well. But the reality is here: whoever is going to be president is going to be the person who picks the Supreme Court. That could affect the balance when it comes to voting, when it comes to many public policy issues. When you begin to talk about who's going to be the Secretary of Education, who's going to be the one with Treasury Department, Secretary of Commerce, all of those things matter. And so I understand criticism of any president. We can literally have that exact same discussion about President Obama, before him President Bush, before him President Clinton, and so. But again. But is it a question of telling folks, because I got in this whole thing with Lupe Fiasco several years ago, this idea of don't vote at all. Somebody's going to win, and whether we like it or not, whoever that is does change the political discourse.
Yeah, they might change the political conversation, but I think the question then becomes are they going to change, the issues that I deal with on a daily basis? And I think that begins the question. I know for me, in Pennsylvania in 2008, Obama was elected for president and we were celebrating, but we in Pennsylvania elected a Republican governor named Tom Colbert. First thing he does is take $1 billion out of education.
Got it.
You had,
So, fool, whose fault was that? You elected Barack Obama, and then you fools turn around and elected a goddamn Republican governor, and you expect Barack Obama to overturn or control him? That's bullshit. Y'all asses should have got out there and elected a Democratic governor who would have helped you. But no, you fools decide that you're going with a Republican. And at the same time, and then you turn around and decide you're going to go with a goddamn Republican legislature. So I don't want to hear no bullshit about, it doesn't matter who you pick on top. It does matter who you pick on top, but it damn sure matters who you pick on the bottom too. And if you guys are too stupid to realize that you needed a Democrat in order to at least try to help you, instead of a goddamn Republican who all he wanted to do was cut, he wanted to cut programs, cut benefits, and cut taxes. Fuck you.
No libraries in school, no nurses in school. So to me, that had more of an effect on me personally than whether or not, Obama is president. Look, ask the people in Flint, Michigan.
Fool. Obama being president allowed at least to have Supreme Court justices come in there that were progressive. He's appointed two, was trying to appoint a third one, which would, if he got it done, would have flipped the court. If a Republican had been in there, he would have put in two more goddamn conservative Supreme Court justices, and we would have been dead for fucking ever. Forget about voting rights. Forget about campaign finance, forget about abortion, forget about everything that we even care about. So Oh my God.
To me, I feel like what we should do is begin to target individuals locally. I'm excited about what activists did in Chicago by, targeting Anita Alvarez and getting her out of office because of her refusal to, prosecute officers that are killing us. They did the same thing in Cleveland with McGinty because he refused to prosecute the officer.
See, so the whole point is you're not just looking at the top of the ballot. You got to look at the whole goddamn ballot, and you got to be informed and know who's going to, do what you need them to do. And if they don't do it, then you get their asses out of office. But you just don't check the president and vice president and maybe whoever, a local judge or whatever, and walk on. You gotta be informed. You gotta look at the entire ballot. You gotta know who's on there. Now, for the most part, I would say that the Democrats and Independents are probably going to be more progressive, but hey, every so often you get a really decent Republican, who kind of bucks their trend. Know who you're voting for. And again, I will say, just because there's a D behind somebody's name, that don't mean shit. Because we have gotten fucked by Democrats just as much as we've gotten fucked by Republicans, and sometimes more. The only thing about the Democrats is they use a little bit of grease, where the Republicans just straight out use no grease.
Right. I'm more excited about that than necessarily like.
Woman Leon?
We're a representative democracy. And so that means that once you vote and you put that representative in place, it's your obligation to be sure that that individual does what you sent that individual there to do. It's a great rap that Nick Cannon has. I love the rhythm, but he offers no solution, as Lupe Fiasco did in 2012, then tried to flip the script and say he was talking local issues, and as with P. Diddy with Vote or Die before that. It was a great T-shirt, it was a great slogan, but there was nothing substantive behind it. And when I went to the website that Nick posts at the end of this rap to see what the website's about, the website is just promoting his next appearance.
See, and that's the bullshit. He's out there looking to make money. He's not out there actually making. I mean, he's making what you would call a political statement, but there's nothing behind it. There is absolutely nothing behind it other than him, like this gentleman just said, promoting his next concert. If you're going to be an activist, be an activist. And if you're not going to be an activist, shut the fuck up.
I mean, here's the thing. One, the reality is Nick Cannon is speaking to a sentiment that a lot of folks are feeling. And we should be having honest conversations about the limits of the democracy that we live, and also the reality of what our voting really does impact have. But Nick Cannon actually isn't too broke to vote, right? And he is not, and he talks about everyone he knows is too broke to vote. It's a little bit, it doesn't pass the smell test to me, because he's not part of he's not offering any solutions as well.
Go ahead, Ralph.
And too broke to vote, honestly, it's a stupid slogan. Were the people marching across the Edmund Pettus Bridge too broke to vote? Were the freedom fighters, the freedom riders, were they too broke to vote? If they had that same mentality that they were too broke to vote, Nick Cannon wouldn't be free to do what he's doing right now. So he's doing a disservice to the black
Angela,
community.
real quick, then I got to give Jaziri a last word, real quick.
I just think we have to be honest about the moment that we're in, right? Yes, the Edison Bridge and folks putting in the effort to win the vote, to win the right to vote, but also let's talk about what's happening now.
Got it.
All of the work that's happening, folks are still not seeing impacts in their lives.
Jaziri, 30 seconds, final comment.
And I think we should be honest about the influence of money in politics right now, and how oftentimes we might even vote for a candidate and then even begin to follow up because of corporate interests. I mean, we don't have the ability to put millions and billions of dollars into a person's coffer. I mean, with issues like Citizens United. So I think we need to be honest about that. But I mean, he got us to have a conversation. He got us to have a dialogue. Let's organize. in our community, and let's begin to really, move these candidates towards the issues that we really need them to do.
Zeriax, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much for joining me.
All right, yeah, we might not have the ability, which that's neither here nor there, because we do have the ability to put millions of dollars into coffers. Just take a look at Bernie Sanders raising money, okay? But more than that, we have the ability to put in millions and millions of votes. So we have a lot of collateral. We have a lot of equity that we can contribute to people who support our causes, and that's what we absolutely need to do. We need to make our our little $1, $5, $10 contributions, and millions of people making those types of contributions adds up, i.e. see Bernie Sanders, and we need to get our asses out there, become informed, and vote for the people that are going to advance our cause. But before we vote for them, we need to make sure that we sit their asses down and tell them that we will hold them accountable. So they'll have whatever the term is that they're being voted for: House of Representatives 2 years, Senate 6 years, President 4 years, our local officials, or whatever their time frame is. But that we are going to generate a report card on their asses, and anything below a B, in my opinion, is a failing grade, and they should be replaced.